We're finding the courage to conquer giants. Giants are an exaggeration, okay? We're not literal giants in our life. These are the giants of fear. We create them because, as we said, fear is irrational. Fear is an exaggeration. Typically, what we're afraid of, there's reason to be apprehensive. I used the illustration earlier about the daddy long leg. Well, that doesn't mean, just because the daddy long leg is harmless doesn't mean all spiders are harmless. So there is reason to be apprehensive about spiders. I talked about the fear of heights. There's reason to be apprehensive about heights because you could fall to your death. But to have an irrational fear about them is an entirely different thing. So, conquering giants, giants are the aspects of fear that we exaggerate, exaggerated interpretations, as I referred to them earlier. But again, they are irrational. They are not something that happens in your rational mind. You understand the aspect of fear. You could read a textbook about it. It wouldn't make a difference. Fear is fear because fear is coming from a part of you in your mind that is not rational, the visual part of you, the imaginative part of you, the part that's much, much harder to control. So how do we build our strength to face our giants? Again, it's focusing on the fundamental movements. That's why we spent so much time on the history of fitness, because we wanted to understand, where things are now in terms of what people feel is important in fitness, which is more strength, strengthening that core. So again, it's focusing on fundamental movements that will affect several areas of life. Compound movement. We want to focus on fundamental movements that affect several areas of life. So again, it's going to be focusing on the fundamentals. And whenever you're focusing on the fundamentals, you are focusing on unglamorous daily stuff. Okay, people always want the secret. People always want something more glamorous, something more magical. There's got to be some mystery to all this. No, it's about a daily grind. It's about doing something daily. The Olympic weightlifter has to do things daily, and they're very, very repetitive, and they're the same movement over and over again. But like with something like strength training, man, you've got to begin with lighter weight. If we're not familiar, if we're wanting to start to build up personal strength, you can't just go in there and lift, heavy weight. You have to learn the proper form. And to do that, you're going to do it with a much lighter weight and then build up your strength. Each time you go in, you add, 5 or 10 more pounds or something like that until you can just keep getting, lifting more and more and more and building up your strength. So this means lifting the little things in life. It means lifting the little things in life. In other words, if I come to someone's home and I see that a lot of little things are neglected, then I'm not going to be surprised, am I, about their challenge with fear. Now think about that. If I come to somebody's home and I see a lot of little things neglected. Now what do I mean by that? I mean things are messy. Things are not wiped off, disorganized. Kids are running around without oversight. They're dirty too. Just something hasn't been done. Again, everything's disheveled and whatever, and their shirts wrinkled and what have you, and one of the tires are half flat on the car, and neglect. They are neglecting things. The grass is overgrown. Why would I be surprised that they have a challenge with fear? Because the neglect is representative of a lack of strength. So they are weak. They're weak people, right? So they're not taking care of the fundamental things. So that's the simple stuff you've got to focus on now. Because if you can't conquer the little things, how are you ever going to conquer the big things? You have to be able to conquer the little things in life. Now, by that I don't mean, some goal that you haven't gotten around to, or I'm not talking about that kind. I'm talking about the fundamental stuff, the simple stuff, like I just described with this imaginary family. It's got to be the little things. Are you an overly messy person? Are things disorganized? I'm not saying you have to be a neat freak. I'm not saying anything like that. I just mean where it's not going to be an embarrassment if somebody walks in your house. Are you taking care of the little things? What's the condition of your kid? Do you watch over what you say? Are you governing your life? Do you have dominion over your life, governance over your life? Are you ruling it? Because again, if you can't conquer these little things, you can't conquer the big things. You have to master and govern your present in order to conquer the giants blocking the way to your ideal future. I'll say that again. You have to master and govern the present in order to conquer the giants blocking the way to your ideal future. That's where giants are located. Giants aren't behind you, man. The giants are in front of you, blocking the way to your promised land, blocking the way to where you need to get to, your ideal future. That's where the giants are. But if you're going to master that future, if you're going to master that season of your life, you've got to master the one that you're in right now. So that's what it means to lift the lighter weight. How many things that you are avoiding lifting every day need to be taken care of? Okay? Cleaning the kitchen, organizing the closet, whatever it may be. How many things in your life are being neglected? And if they are, it makes perfect sense that you would struggle with fear and being apprehensive about going into your next season. But if you start to really take care of things, and you're going to start to feel that frustration of saying, you know what, man, I've mastered this. I'm ready for something more. I'm ready for greater responsibility. I've taken care of what I'm dealing with every day. I'm ready for something bigger. I'm ready for greater responsibility. That's how you prove yourself. And if you don't believe it, man, you're not going to be able to go. You're not going to be able to do it. You have to believe it. That's faith. Faith is just unavoidable. And I'm not talking about faith in a religious sense. I'm talking about a conviction and convincing that you can do it. And that it's not just possible, man. It's going to happen. It's going to be done because you believe in yourself. You believe in your ability. Now you're getting strong. Now you're going to be courageous. Now you're going to conquer your fear. You're not going to stay where you are anymore. You're not going to stay stuck in that rut. You're not going to stay stuck in that dark season. You're not going to stay stuck in that depression. You're not going to stay in that dead-end job. You're not going to stay in that dead-end relationship. You're going to start moving some stuff. You're going to start knocking some things around because the frustration is going to drive you because you've got a taste of the future. You've mastered the present. You're ready for something bigger. Now your mind starts to visualize it, and that creates frustration. And pretty soon, man, you start to move and press against the membrane of resistance. And you'll be facing that giant, and you'll win, man. I guarantee you win. Can you dig it? Hope you can.